Hey there, my friend. Welcome to this quiet corner of the internet. This time, this space, it's just for you. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a history. A soft, gentle history about a world that moved at a different pace. When we think of the Middle Ages, our minds often conjure up images of cold stone castles and horrid, brutal lives. But there's another side to this story, a quieter truth that's been waiting for us to discover it. In many ways, believe it or not, medieval people were healthier than we are today. They didn't go to gyms, they didn't count calories, they didn't obsess over their step count. But they moved every single day. They ate fresh food, straight from the earth. They slept deeply, unbothered by the blue light of screens. They lived with purpose, and they stayed connected to nature in a way that we've almost forgotten. Modern science is starting to catch up, to see how powerful that connection was. And tonight we're going to explore their secrets, not as a dry history lesson, but as a calming story, a peaceful journey, a soft return to rhythm. We'll walk through a full day in a medieval life. We'll wake with the sun, eat simple meals prepared with care, work with our hands, and rest when darkness falls. We'll see how they healed with herbs gathered from meadows and forests, how they found peace in the warmth of community, how they lived without the constant stress that seems to define our modern existence. Each chapter of our history will guide you gently into their world, a slower world, a healthier one. Not perfect, mind you, life was still hard in many ways, but there was a peace to it, a simplicity that might just help you sleep tonight. So now, take a deep breath in and let it out slowly, feeling the tension leave your body. This history is here for you, whether your eyes are open or closed. Our tale begins with morning. Picture the soft light of dawn creeping over the horizon. You're in a quiet medieval village, nestled in a valley perhaps, or perched on a gentle hillside. You open your eyes. The fire in the hearth is low, just embers now. The birds are just beginning to sing their morning songs. The day begins, but not with the harsh blare of an alarm clock. Instead, it's the gentle crowing of a rooster, the soft lowing of cattle in the nearby fields. You rise from your bed, simple but comfortable. Your feet touch the cool earth floor, grounding you. The air is clean, filled with the scent of wood smoke and fresh dew. You step outside, and the world is awash in soft, golden light. The village is slowly coming to life around you. Smoke rises from chimneys, carrying the promise of warm bread and porridge. You stretch, feeling your body wake up. There's work to be done, yes, but it's not the frantic rush we know today. The pace is steady, purposeful. You know your role, your place in the rhythm of the day. As you begin your morning tasks, feeding animals, drawing water from the well, you're moving your body naturally. No need for a gym membership here. Every action has a purpose. Every movement contributes to the life of your family, your community. The food you'll eat today was grown in fields you can see from your doorstep. The bread was baked by hands, you know. The vegetables were pulled from the earth just yesterday. There are no preservatives, no artificial flavors, just the honest taste of food as nature intended. As the sun climbs higher, you join your neighbors in the fields or workshops. The work is hard, but there's a satisfaction in it, a connection to the earth, to the changing seasons, to the cycle of life itself. You work together, sharing stories, laughter, the weight of your labors. When the sun reaches its peak, it's time to rest. to share a simple meal to let your body recover. There's no rush to get back to work, no emails pinging, no deadlines looming. As evening approaches, the work winds down. The community gathers, perhaps around a fire, sharing the events of the day. There's a closeness here, a sense of belonging that many of us have lost in our modern, isolated lives. And when darkness falls, truly falls without the artificial glow of streetlights and screens, your body knows it's time to rest. You return to your home, to the warmth of family, to the quiet of night. Morning in the Middle Ages. How people woke up naturally. We're diving into the peaceful mornings of the Middle Ages. Forget the chaos and rush of modern wake-ups. The truth is, you probably wouldn't recognize how people started their day back then. Congratulations, you've just woken up in the year 1325. The good news, you're alive. The better news? You're waking up naturally without the jarring screech of an alarm. Imagine this. The first light of morning is gently touching the wooden shutters of your room. There's no buzzing phone, no blaring clock radio. Just the soft, golden light of the sun rising over the hills, slowly seeping into your consciousness. You lie still for a moment, listening. A rooster calls somewhere in the distance, nature's own alarm clock. The fire in the hearth has gone quiet during the night, leaving the air cool and filled with the faint scent of ash and earth. It's a far cry from the artificial scents and temperature-controlled environments we're used to today. You stretch under your wool blanket, feeling your body awaken. There's no rush, no immediate pressure to leap out of bed and start your day. Your body feels rested, not rushed. This is how mornings began in the Middle Ages, a stark contrast to our modern wake-up routines. Slow morning routines. People in medieval times woke up slowly, in harmony with the sun. Their bodies followed the natural rhythm of light and dark, uninterrupted by screens or constant noise. They opened their eyes when it was time, not because of external pressure, but because of an inner peace and natural cycle. Outside, the village is quiet. A dog barks once, breaking the silence momentarily. Chickens move in the yard, their soft clucking, a gentle backdrop to the morning. You hear the faint sound of hooves on a dirt path as someone begins their walk to the fields. These are the subtle sounds of a world waking up, so different from the abrupt start many of us experience in the modern world. Your breath is steady, your heart calm. The day hasn't asked anything of you yet. This kind of waking is gentle, telling your nervous system that you are safe, that there is no danger, no hurry. It's a stark contrast to the adrenaline-fueled mornings many of us experience today, jolted awake by alarms and immediately thrown into the day's demands. Science now shows that waking naturally helps the body regulate stress, digestion, and sleep rhythms. But in medieval times, they didn't need studies. They had the sun, and they followed it. No sudden jolts, no fluorescent lights flooding their eyes. Just a slow, natural return of morning. As you sit up and swing your feet to the floor, you feel the cool wood beneath your skin. The air is crisp and fresh, untainted by the pollutants of modern life. There's no screen waiting for you, no list of urgent things demanding your immediate attention. Instead, you're greeted by a simple basin of water and a cloth. You take a moment to wash your face, feeling the cold water wake you up gently. You hear movement downstairs. Someone is stirring oats in a pot, the soft sound of metal against clay drifting up to your room. This is how the morning continues in the Middle Ages. Slow, repetitive, familiar. You light a taper candle, its warm glow adding to the soft light of dawn. You check the herbs drying by the window, their earthy scent filling your nostrils. You fold a linen cloth and place it neatly away. Every action is simple, and every action has meaning. These slow routines are grounding, giving the mind something steady to hold on to. They shape the day before it truly begins, setting a tone of calm and purpose that's often missing in our modern rush. You eat a small piece of bread, maybe with a bit of butter or honey. Your morning drink isn't coffee, but perhaps a simple ale, warm milk, or fresh water from the well. You don't rush, you don't scroll through social media, you don't panic about being late. The morning stretches out before you like a quiet road. You are not behind. You are not late. You are simply living, existing in the moment. In the medieval world, this was normal. They didn't chase the clock, they followed the light. And that slowness helped them start the day with strength and calm. Their bodies stayed in balance. Their minds were not flooded with the constant noise and information overload we face today. Just breath, just motion, just morning. It's a stark contrast to our modern wake-up routines, isn't it? No blaring alarms, no immediate reach for the phone, no rush to get out the door. The medieval morning was a time of gentle awakening, of easing into the day rather than being thrust into it. But let's not romanticize it too much. Life in the Middle Ages was hard in many ways. The comfort we enjoy today was non-existent for most people. Your bed wasn't a plush mattress with memory foam, but likely a straw-filled sack that rustled with every movement. Your room might have been shared with family members or even livestock in poorer households. The air, while fresh, might also carry the sense of a world without modern sanitation. The quiet of the morning could be broken by the cries of a sick child or the grumbling of an empty stomach in times of scarcity. The gentle routine of washing your face might be done with water that had to be hauled from a well or stream. Yet there's something to be learned from this slower start to the day. In our modern world, we're often jolted awake by alarms, immediately bombarded with notifications, news, and the pressure to be productive from the moment we open our eyes. We rush through our mornings, multitasking, as we prepare for the day ahead. But what if we took a page from the medieval book of mornings? What if we allowed ourselves to wake more naturally, to ease into our day with simple, meaningful routines? It doesn't mean abandoning our modern comforts or responsibilities, but perhaps finding a balance. Maybe it's setting your alarm for 15 minutes later and using that time to simply lie still and listen to the world around you. Or it could be creating a morning routine that doesn't involve screens for the first hour you reawake. It might mean taking the time to prepare and enjoy a simple breakfast, focusing on the tastes and textures rather than scrolling through your phone. The lessons we can learn from medieval mornings aren't about going back in time, but about bringing some of that peace and intentionality into our modern lives. It's about recognizing that how we start our day can set the tone for everything that follows. In the Middle Ages, people didn't have the luxury of ignoring their natural rhythms. They couldn't artificially extend their days with electric lights or stay connected 24/7 through devices. In some ways, they were more in tune with their bodies and the natural world around them. As we wrap up our journey into medieval mornings, I want you to think about your own morning routine. How does it make you feel? Does it energize you or leave you feeling stressed and rushed? What small changes could you make to bring a bit of that medieval calm into your modern morning? Remember, it's not about completely overhauling your life or rejecting the conveniences of our time. It's about finding balance, about creating space for peace and intention at the start of your day. Maybe tomorrow morning you can try waking up a little more slowly, taking a few deep breaths before you start your day, or enjoying a quiet moment before diving into your to-do list. What they ate and why it worked. Local, seasonal, unprocessed foods. Now we're taking a journey back in time to an era when food wasn't just sustenance, but a daily dance with nature. We're diving into the medieval diet, and trust me, it's not what you might expect. You're hungry, but breakfast in the Middle Ages isn't what you're used to. There's no cereal box waiting for you, no refrigerator humming in the background. Instead, you're about to experience food as our ancestors did, pure, simple, and deeply connected to the land around them. Your morning meal is humble but nourishing. Picture a small piece of coarse bread made from grains grown in nearby fields. It's dense and hearty, nothing like the fluffy white loaves we know today. There are no preservatives here, no added sugar, just flour, water, and time, the ingredients that have sustained humanity for millennia. Perhaps there's a wedge of cheese to go with it, aged slowly over weeks in a cool, dark cellar. Its flavor is sharp and complex, a testament to the patience of its maker. If you're lucky, there might be a handful of berries picked at the edge of the forest just yesterday. They're small and tart, bursting with flavor that hasn't been bred out for shelf stability. Everything you eat grew close to home. There are no barcodes, no packaging, no artificial flavors. Just food as it was meant to be, touched only by hands and not machines. In the Middle Ages, people ate what the land gave them, when it gave it to them. When the weather was warm, their plates were filled with fresh greens and fruits. As the cold set in, they turned to hearty grains and root vegetables. Their bodies moved with the seasons, just like the plants and animals around them. Modern science now tells us that eating seasonal food supports our immune system, giving us the nutrients we need precisely when we need them most. And those unprocessed foods, they keep our gut healthy and inflammation low. But here's the thing, medieval folks weren't thinking about it as some kind of health plan. It was just life. It was the rhythm their bodies had known for generations, keeping them in balance with the world around them. No labels, no trends, just nature guiding every meal. Now let's talk about how they ate. Imagine sitting down to your meal, whether with others or alone. There are no giant plates here, no second helpings piled high. Food is shared and appreciated because there's only so much of it. Hunger is a familiar companion in these times, but so is the deep satisfaction of a meal well earned. Every bite has value. Every sip is savored. In medieval times, food wasn't something to be wasted. It was stored carefully, measured out, respected. People rarely overate because they simply couldn't. Their bodies were accustomed to fasting, going short or long periods without food. Today, we know that occasional fasting can support metabolism, lower inflammation, and even extend lifespan. But for medieval people, it wasn't a choice. It was survival. And in a way, it gave their systems rest. Their digestion worked hard, then paused. Their bodies stayed lean but strong. They weren't chasing energy highs. and crashes like we do today. There was no constant snacking, no grazing all day long. Instead, they listened to their hunger, ate with intention, and stopped when the food was gone. It wasn't a diet, it was daily life. And it made them lighter, not just in body, but in mind. They weren't obsessed with calories or macros. They didn't have shelves full of diet books or Instagram influencers telling them what to eat. They simply ate what was available, when it was available, and their bodies adapted. Now, I'm not saying life was easy. Far from it. But there's something to be learned from this simplicity, this connection to the land and the seasons. In our modern world of abundance and choice, we've lost touch with the natural rhythms that once governed our eating habits. Imagine for a moment living like this, waking up to the sound of roosters instead of alarm clocks, walking out to gather eggs or milk a cow for your breakfast, knowing that the vegetables on your plate were in the ground just hours ago. There's a peace in that, a connection to your food that we rarely experience today. But it wasn't all idyllic. Winter could be harsh with limited food stores. A bad harvest could mean lean times ahead. Yet even in scarcity, there was community. People shared what they had, preserved food together, and found ways to make even the simplest ingredients satisfying. As we drift back to our modern world, let's take a moment to reflect. What can we learn from our medieval ancestors? Perhaps it's the importance of eating with the seasons, or the value of unprocessed foods. Maybe it's the mindfulness of eating slowly, appreciating each bite. Or it could be the reminder that our bodies are resilient, capable of thriving on far less than we often give them. Next time you sit down to a meal, take a moment to consider its journey to your plate. Where did it come from? How was it grown or raised? What season is it meant for? And as you eat, try to do so with the same reverence and appreciation that our ancestors had for their food. Remember, in the Middle Ages, every meal was a gift. Every harvest was a celebration, and every bite was a connection to the earth and the community around them. In our world of convenience and excess, we could all benefit from a little of that medieval wisdom. From soil to spoon, the power of seasonal vegetables. Imagine waking up to the earthy aroma of freshly harvested vegetables. The medieval diet was a celebration of what the earth provided each season. Cabbages, onions, carrots, parsnips, turnips, peas, and beans were the stars of the show. These weren't your supermarket veggies, but locally grown, nutrient-rich produce. Preparation was simple. Boiling or stewing was the norm, preserving the natural flavors and goodness. Lean meats and wild proteins, a rare but rich addition. Now, let's talk about meat. For most people, it wasn't an everyday luxury. When it did grace the table, it was a far cry from our modern factory-farmed varieties. Picture lean, hormone-free meat from animals that roamed freely. Some folks supplemented their diet by foraging for small game or fishing in local streams. It was a feast when it happened, savored and appreciated. But how did they keep food from spoiling in a world without refrigerators? The answer lies in the art of preservation. Salting, drying, and smoking were common practices. But let's focus on fermentation, a process that not only preserved food, but enhanced it. Imagine the gentle bubbling of fermenting ale, the tangy aroma of sourdough bread rising, and the satisfying crunch of pickled vegetables. These methods didn't just keep food edible. They filled it with beneficial probiotics and retained precious nutrients. Here's a sweet revelation, or rather an unsweetened one. The medieval world was largely devoid of processed sugar. Natural sweeteners like honey and fruit were used sparingly, more as a treat than a dietary staple. This absence of refined sugar had surprising benefits. Teeth were often healthier, and metabolic issues we struggle with today were far less common. As we drift back to our modern world, let's ponder the wisdom in this ancient diet. It was a way of eating born of necessity, yet inadvertently promoting health through its simplicity and connection to the land. Perhaps there are lessons here, whispers from the past that could guide us to a healthier future. The way they slept segmented sleep first and second sleep. We're delving into the fascinating world of medieval sleep patterns. Let's drift back to a time when darkness truly meant darkness, and sleep had its own unique rhythm. Imagine yourself in a small village somewhere in Europe around the year 1300. The sun has just dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in deep shades of blue and purple. The day's work is done, and a hush falls over the land. But sleep in these times wasn't quite what we're used to today. In the medieval world, people often followed a pattern known as segmented sleep. This wasn't a single long stretch of unconsciousness, but rather two distinct periods of rest, separated by a quiet, wakeful interlude. Let's explore this forgotten rhythm together. As night falls, you settle onto your simple bed. There are no electric lights here, no glowing screens to keep you awake. Just a soft flicker of firelight from the hearth, and perhaps a single candle. Your body, attuned to these natural cycles, begins to relax. You slip into your first sleep easily. The world around you is truly dark, a deep, velvety blackness that modern eyes rarely experience. There are no street lamps, no blinking devices, just an all-encompassing stillness. Your brain welcomes this absence of stimulation, recognizing it as a sign of safety. In this complete darkness, your body releases melatonin freely. Your sleep deepens, and your dreams become richer, more vivid. Modern studies have shown that artificial light, especially the blue light from our devices, can disrupt this process. But here, in the Middle Ages, night is simply night. A few hours pass, and you find yourself gently awakening. But this isn't cause for alarm or frustration. In fact, it's entirely normal and expected. This period between your first and second sleep is a time of quiet wakefulness, a twilight state of mind. During this interlude, medieval people might engage in various activities. Some would use this time for prayer or meditation, finding a deep sense of peace in the quiet hours. Others might tend to small chores, like checking on the fire or the animals. Couples might share intimate moments or quiet conversations. This waking period wasn't seen as an interruption of sleep, but as a natural part of the nightly rhythm. It was a time for reflection, for processing the day's events, or simply for existing in a state of calm alertness. After an hour or so, you'd feel the pull of sleep once more. You'd return to your bed, easily drifting into your second sleep. This pattern matched the natural cycles of your body and brain, allowing for deep, restorative rest. It's fascinating to note that modern science has begun to rediscover this old pattern. Researchers have found that when people are removed from artificial light and allowed to sleep according to their natural rhythms, they often fall into a segmented sleep pattern similar to what was common in medieval times. In the absence of electric lighting, people's sleep patterns were more closely aligned with the natural world. They would wind down as the sun set, their activities becoming quieter and more subdued. The darkness came slowly, and people moved with it, their bodies and minds naturally preparing for rest. This natural rhythm extended to how they woke as well. Instead of jarring alarms, medieval people would often rise with the gradual lightening of the sky. Their bodies, in tune with these natural cues, would ease them gently into wakefulness. The medieval approach to sleep wasn't just about duration, but about quality. The total darkness they experienced each night allowed for deeper, more restorative sleep. Their circadian rhythms remained intact, shaped by firelight, moonlight, and starlight rather than the harsh glare of electric bulbs or the blue glow of screens. Even their dreams may have been different from ours. Without the constant influx of information and stimulation that we experience in the modern world, medieval minds might have had more space for processing and creating during sleep. They drifted off with stories, prayers, or the soft sounds of the hearth, rather than the buzz of television or the ping of notifications. It's important to note that while this pattern of segmented sleep was common, it wasn't universal. Factors like social class, occupation, and individual preference could all influence sleep habits. Monks, for instance, often followed a different sleep schedule dictated by their religious observances. As we drift back to our own time, it's worth considering what we might learn from these medieval sleep patterns. In our modern world of constant connectivity and artificial light, we've largely lost touch with these natural rhythms. But perhaps there's wisdom in this older way of sleeping. If you find yourself waking in the middle of the night, remember that this isn't necessarily a problem to be solved. It might be your body tapping into an ancient pattern, seeking a moment of quiet wakefulness in the depths of the night. Instead of fretting about lost sleep, you might use this time for gentle reflection or relaxation. And while we can't entirely recreate the medieval sleep environment, we can take steps to improve our sleep quality, reducing exposure to artificial light in the evening, creating a dark and quiet sleep space, and allowing ourselves to wind down naturally can all help us tap into more restful sleep patterns. As we end our journey through medieval nights, take a moment to appreciate the darkness around you. Let your mind drift with the rhythms of your breath, imagining a world where sleep wasn't a battle to be won, but a natural flow to be embraced. Remember, in the medieval world, waking briefly in the night wasn't a flaw, it was part of the flow. First sleep, a gentle waking twilight. Then second sleep, a rhythm as old as humanity itself, rediscovered by modern science. So tonight, as you settle into your own sleep, perhaps you'll find a new appreciation for the darkness, for the quiet, for the natural ebb and flow of rest. May your dreams be deep, your waking moments peaceful, and your sleep as restorative as that of our medieval ancestors. In medieval times, people didn't fight against their biological clocks. They embraced them. As darkness fell, their bodies began producing melatonin, the hormone that signals it's time to rest. Without artificial light to disrupt this process, melatonin levels rose steadily, preparing the body for a deep, restorative sleep. But here's where things get interesting. Medieval folk didn't sleep in one long stretch like we try to do today. Instead, they practiced what historians call segmented sleep. They'd have a first sleep shortly after sunset, lasting a few hours. Then, they'd wake for an hour or two in the middle of the night. This wakeful period was often used for quiet contemplation, prayer, or even visiting neighbors. As the night wore on, cortisol levels would begin to rise, gradually preparing the body to wake. With the first light of dawn, cortisol production would peak, naturally rousing people from their second sleep. This cycle allowed for 2 distinct periods of deep restorative rest, perfectly aligned with the body's natural rhythms. This natural regulation of sleep patterns had profound effects on overall health and well-being. Without the constant disruption of artificial light, medieval people often enjoyed better sleep quality than many of us do today. Their bodies were attuned to the subtle changes in light throughout the day and night, allowing for more efficient sleep cycles. Exercise without exercising. Physical daily labor, walking, farming. We're exploring a world where exercise wasn't a separate part of life, but woven into the very fabric of existence. Let's drift back to a time when every movement had purpose. You step outside into the cool morning air, taking a deep breath. The world around you is quiet, save for the soft rustling of leaves and the occasional crow of a rooster. There's no car waiting for you, no bus to catch, no elevator to whisk you away. Instead, your day begins with a walk. Your feet find a well-worn dirt path, winding its way past small gardens and towards the fields beyond. Every step is a gentle reminder that in this world, your body is your primary mode of transportation. The modern concept of commuting doesn't exist here. Instead, you simply walk, your muscles warming up naturally as you go. As you move through the village, you see others beginning their day as well. A woman hefts a wooden bucket, heading towards the well for water. A man shoulders an axe, ready to chop firewood for the day's cooking and warmth. Children scamper by, already on their way to help with chores or tend to animals. In this world, every task uses the body. There's no button to push for light, no faucet to turn for water. Instead, you fetch, carry, and work with your hands and back. Washing clothes means hauling heavy, wet fabric to and from the stream. Cooking requires not just stirring a pot, but often grinding grain, kneading dough, and tending a fire. No one here calls it working out, it's simply working. Even a child might walk miles in a day, helping to gather berries or herbs, or running errands between households. The blacksmith's muscles grow strong from swinging his hammer, shaping hot metal into tools and weapons. The farmer's back and legs become sturdy from bending to the earth, planting and harvesting. Modern science now has a term for this: functional movement. It's the idea of using your body as it was designed, through natural motions like walking, bending, reaching, and lifting. In this medieval world, there are no gym memberships, no elliptical machines, no protein shakes. Just living and moving all the while. And yet, despite all this constant motion, the pace of life here is not rushed. Each movement has purpose, each task its own rhythm. You're not racing against the clock, trying to fit in a workout before or after a long day of sitting. Instead, your joints stay fluid and your heart stays strong simply through the steady cadence of daily life. As you reach the edge of a field, you kneel down, feeling the cool soil beneath your fingers. There's work to be done here, stones to clear, seeds to plant, furrows to dig. But there's no need for artificial exercises like push-ups or weightlifting. The labor itself provides all the strength training your body needs. Your back straightens as you lift a stone. Your legs stretch as you walk the rows. Your arms engage as you draw water or swing a scythe. This movement isn't separate from your day. It is your day. health and labor are one and the same. In our modern world, we often find ourselves sitting for hours on end, only to then rush to the gym or go for a jog, trying to cram physical activity into our sedentary lives. But for these medieval people, movement was constant and integrated. Their chores kept them limber. Their daily tasks made them strong. And while the work might sometimes be hard, it wasn't the intense, sweat-drenching workouts we often associate with exercise today. Instead, it was quiet, repetitive effort. Not intense, but consistent. This built a different kind of strength, a real, lasting endurance. We now have scientific studies showing how this kind of regular, moderate physical activity throughout the day can lower stress hormones, boost mood, and protect heart health. Our medieval ancestors didn't know about cortisol levels or endorphins, but they knew the feeling of strength that comes from using your body day in and day out. It wasn't the kind of strength you see in mirrors or measure with numbers on a scale. It was the quiet confidence of knowing you could lift what needed lifting, walk where you needed to go, and work from sunrise to sunset if necessary. It was honest strength, durable strength. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, you pause in your work, straightening up to stretch. Your muscles have that pleasant ache of use, not from a targeted workout, but from the natural movements of tending to the earth and your community's needs. You look around at your fellow villagers, each engaged in their own tasks. The washerwoman's arms are strong from wringing out heavy cloth. The carpenter's hands are calloused and sure as he shapes wood into useful items. Even the scribe, hunched over his parchments, must grind his own ink and carefully control his quill. No small task for the fingers and wrist. In this world, there's no separation between exercise time and rest time. Movement is woven throughout the day, punctuated by moments of rest when needed. Your body learns to work efficiently, conserving energy where it can, but always ready to engage when necessary. As you return to your task, you reflect on how different this is from the world we know today. In our time, we often have to consciously remember to move, setting reminders to stand up from our desks or scheduling time for a walk. Here, movement is as natural as breathing. The day continues, a steady flow of tasks and motion. You carried baskets of harvested vegetables, help a neighbor repair a fence, walk to a nearby stream to fish for the evening meal. Each action uses your body in a different way, engaging various muscle groups without you even realizing it. As the sun begins to set, you make your way back home. Your body feels tired, but it's a satisfying kind of fatigue. You've moved and worked all day, yet you haven't done a single jumping jack or burpee. You haven't counted steps or tracked your heart rate. You've simply lived, and in living, you've kept your body strong and healthy. Settling in for the night, you reflect on how this medieval life, for all its hardships, had some hidden benefits. The constant, varied movement throughout the day, the connection between physical labor and tangible results, the natural rhythm of activity and rest, dictated by the sun rather than artificial schedules. As you drift off to sleep, muscles pleasantly tired from an honest day's work, consider how we might bring some of this natural movement back into our modern lives. Perhaps it's taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or walking to a nearby store instead of driving. Maybe it's spending time gardening or choosing to wash dishes by hand occasionally. Small choices bringing us back to a time when exercise wasn't something we did, but something we lived. A time when strength came not from repetitions in a gym, but from the quiet, constant effort of simply existing in the world. And with that thought, we'll leave our medieval village behind, returning to the present. I hope this journey has given you some food for thought, and perhaps even lulled you towards sleep. Remember, our bodies were made to move, to work, to live. Even in our modern world, we can find ways to honor that design. Healing with herbs, medicinal plants, teas, and tinctures. Now we'll explore the gentle art of healing with herbs in medieval times. Let's drift back to a time when nature held the secrets to wellness. Imagine sunlight filters through the thatched roof, but there's a scratch in your throat, a telltale sign of oncoming illness. In our modern world, you might reach for a pill or head to the pharmacy. But here, in this simpler time, healing takes a different path. You rise from your bed, a simple straw mattress that's seen better days, and make your way to the herb garden behind the cottage. The ground is cool beneath your feet, and the morning dew clings to blades of grass. The mint leaves are still wet, glistening in the early light. Chamomile flowers nod softly in the breeze, their delicate petals a promise of calm. With careful hands, you gather a few sprigs of each. The scent of crushed herbs fills the air as you return to the cottage. You steep them in warm water, watching as the clear liquid takes on a pale golden hue. The first sip is a revelation. It's not just the warmth that soothes your throat, but something deeper. The act of preparing this simple remedy is healing in itself. In the Middle Ages, medicine wasn't found in sterile labs or gleaming hospitals. It came from the earth, nurtured by sun and rain. Women were often the keepers of this knowledge, passing it down through generations like precious heirlooms. They knew which plants could ease a fever, which could settle an upset stomach, and which could help a restless mind find sleep. There were no complicated chemical names or hastily scribbled prescriptions. Instead, healing came in the form of teas brewed with care, poultices applied with gentle hands, and tinctures that captured the essence of plants, soaked in sunlight and infused with intention. Modern science has since confirmed what these medieval healers knew instinctively. Willow bark, rich in salicin, truly does ease pain. Lavender's calming properties are more than just folklore. And garlic, that pungent bulb, really can help fight infection. Even without our modern tools and understanding, these healers had a profound grasp of the human body. But they saw it not as a machine to be fixed when it broke down, but as a garden to be tended with constant care. They approached healing with patience, keen observation, and a quiet respect for the body's own wisdom. In this world, the concept of healing began long before sickness took hold. As winter gave way to spring, people would drink nettle tea to cleanse their blood and prepare for the new season. Honey wasn't just a sweetener. It was added to food for its healing properties, protecting against illness and soothing sore throats. The changing of seasons brought its own rhythms of care. As days grew shorter and colder, people naturally rested more, listening to the quiet whispers of their bodies. They understood that health wasn't just about treating symptoms, but about shaping a life that prevented illness in the first place. Care was constant but subtle. Wool clothing kept them warm, herb-infused baths cleansed both body and spirit, and oil soothed dry, cracked skin. In close-knit communities, people watched out for each other. They noticed when someone grew pale or tired, when laughter became less frequent, or eyes lost their spark. Because in this world, health wasn't just about the physical body. They understood that a person could be physically well, but still unwell in spirit. Sadness was treated with songs and stories shared around the fire. Loneliness was eased with touch, a hand on a shoulder, a child held close. Tension and worry were addressed through prayer and meditation. Nothing was rushed in this approach to healing. Pain wasn't something to be pushed aside or masked. It was listened to, respected as the body's way of communicating. And often, that act of listening, of truly paying attention to what the body was saying, was healing in itself. It's a stark contrast to our modern world, where we often ignore the whispers of our bodies until they become shouts we can no longer ignore. But in medieval times, they believed in tending to the body like precious soil, keeping it nourished and balanced, not just trying to fix it when it finally broke down. They trusted in the innate wisdom of the body. Instead of fighting against symptoms, they worked with the body, supporting its natural healing processes. And in doing so, they often managed to stay in balance, avoiding the extremes of illness more often than we might expect. As you lie here, drifting between wakefulness and sleep, imagine yourself in that medieval world. Feel the rough wool of your blanket. Hear the crackle of the fire in the hearth. The air is scented with herbs hanging to dry from the rafters, rosemary, thyme, sage. Outside, the garden waits, a living pharmacy of green leaves and vibrant flowers. Your body feels different here. Without the constant hum of electricity, the glow of screens, the ping of notifications, you're more attuned to its rhythms. You notice the slight ache in your muscles from yesterday's work, the way your breath deepens as you relax. In the morning, you'll rise with the sun. Perhaps you'll gather some chamomile for tea, or crush a few mint leaves to freshen your breath. You'll step outside, feeling the earth beneath your feet, grounding you. The day's work will be physical, tending crops, caring for animals, mending and making. Your body will move as it was meant to, stretching and bending, lifting and carrying. As evening falls, you'll gather with others. Stories will be shared. Laughter will ring out. Touch will be frequent and natural. A hand clasped in greeting, an arm around a shoulder, children cuddled close. This too is medicine. The comfort of community, the healing power of human connection. And when illness does come, as it inevitably will, you'll face it not with fear, but with the quiet confidence of one who understands the body's ways. You'll rest, you'll brew teas and prepare poultices. You'll listen to the wisdom of those who have come before, their knowledge carried in stories and songs. Healing in this world is not a battle to be won. It's a gentle dance, a conversation between body and nature, guided by the accumulated wisdom of generations. It's slow, it's patient, it's deeply connected to the rhythms of the earth and the cycles of life. As you drift deeper into sleep, let this ancient wisdom seep into your bones. Feel the connection to those who came before, who understood that true healing comes not from fighting against the body, but from working in harmony with it. Let their gentle, patient approach to wellness guide your dreams. And in the morning, when you wake in your modern world, perhaps you'll carry a bit of this medieval wisdom with you. Maybe you'll take a moment to listen to your body, to tend to it with the same care and attention as those long-ago healers. For while our world has changed, the fundamental needs of our bodies and spirits remain the same. Mental health through community, daily social bonding. And now we're exploring a gentler side of history, one that might surprise you. Let's travel back to the Middle Ages, but instead of focusing on the hardships we often hear about, we'll discover how people found comfort and connection in their communities. Imagine waking up, not to the harsh buzz of an alarm, but to the soft murmur of voices. In medieval times, your day didn't start with scrolling through a phone, but with real human connection. As you step out of your humble dwelling, you're greeted by familiar faces, your family, neighbors, children playing in the street, and elders sharing their wisdom. In this world, everyone has a place, a role to play in the grand tapestry of daily life. The medieval world was deeply social, a stark contrast to our often isolated modern existence. Most people lived in tight-knit communities where loneliness was a rare visitor. Life wasn't always easy or happy, but it was always shared. Picture yourself helping to repair a neighbor's roof in the crisp morning air. The work is hard, but the conversation flows easily, punctuated by laughter and the rhythmic sound of hammering. Later, you might walk to the market together, the path alive with chatter and the bustle of daily life. Modern studies have shown that these daily, low-stakes social interactions, even brief greetings, can significantly lower stress and improve our emotional well-being. Medieval people lived this reality naturally, without the need for social media or apps. Their village was their network, a living, breathing community where every connection, no matter how small, helped the mind feel safe and seen. As the day progresses, you find yourself kneeling beside others in a stone chapel, the air heavy with the scent of beeswax candles. Voices rise together in prayer, slow and steady. Even if you don't understand the Latin words, the rhythm calms your mind, creating a sense of unity and peace. Shared work, rituals, and religion. Rituals were woven into the fabric of medieval life, giving structure and meaning to each day. From planting crops in the spring to praying at dusk, each act carried significance beyond its immediate purpose. These shared rituals meant you were never carrying the burden of life alone. Imagine washing wool with your neighbors, the repetitive motions and quiet conversation soothing your mind. Or picture yourself in a communal bakery, the warmth of the ovens and the scent of fresh bread, creating a sense of comfort and belonging. Even in times of grief, you were surrounded by your community, sharing the weight of loss and finding solace in collective mourning. This shared structure gave the medieval mind a sense of order and purpose. Religion wasn't just a set of beliefs, it was a routine, a source of comfort, and a framework for understanding the world. A bell would ring for prayer, marking the hours of the day. Feasts celebrated the changing seasons, connecting people to the rhythms of nature. A candle lit at every ending symbolized hope and continuity. Modern psychology now confirms what medieval people intuitively understood, that predictable rituals can reduce anxiety, that spiritual practices support emotional resilience, and that finding meaning, even in simple, repetitive acts, can ground the mind and spirit. In the medieval world, life moved at a different pace. It wasn't fast or filled with the constant stimulation we're used to today, but it was full of people, of shared labor, of time-honored traditions that whispered, "You are not alone in this." This sense of community and belonging was a form of health care, not just for the body, but for the spirit. As you lie here, listening to the soft sound of my voice, imagine for a moment what it would be like to live in such a world. To wake each day knowing that you're an integral part of something larger than yourself. To work alongside others, sharing both the burdens and the joys of daily life. To end each day with a sense of connection and purpose. In our modern world, we often struggle to find this sense of community. We're more connected than ever through technology, yet many of us feel profoundly alone. Perhaps there's a lesson we can learn from our medieval ancestors, the importance of real, tangible human connections in our daily lives. As we drift towards sleep, let's reflect on how we might bring a touch of this medieval wisdom into our own lives. Could we greet our neighbors more often? Participate in local community events? Share a meal with friends or family without the distraction of screens? These small acts of connection might just be the key to improving our mental health and well-being. The medieval world wasn't perfect, of course. It had its own challenges and hardships. But in the realm of community and social connection, it offers us a glimpse of what's possible when we prioritize our relationships with those around us. As your eyes grow heavy and your breathing slows, imagine yourself back in that medieval village. The day is ending, and you're surrounded by the gentle sounds of your community, settling down for the night. The soft glow of candlelight flickers through windows, and the distant sound of a lullaby drifts on the evening breeze. You're part of something larger than yourself, a living, breathing community that supports and sustains you. This knowledge brings a deep sense of peace and belonging, allowing your mind to rest easy as you drift off to sleep. In our fast-paced modern world, we might not be able to fully recreate the close-knit communities of medieval times, but we can certainly draw inspiration from them, finding ways to foster connection and support in our own lives. As we end our journey through medieval community life, I hope you're feeling a sense of calm and connection. Remember, even in our modern world, we're not alone. There are always opportunities to reach out, to build connections, and to create our own sense of community. Imagine waking up in a world where loneliness is a thing of the past, where every morning you're greeted not just by the sun, but by the warm smiles of your neighbors. This isn't some far-off utopia. It's a reality we can create right here, right now. In our fast-paced digital age, it's easy to feel disconnected. We scroll through endless feeds, double-tapping lives we'll never live, while our own connections wither. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking true mental well-being lies not in our phones, but in the faces around us? Community isn't just a buzzword, it's a lifeline. It's the gentle hand on your shoulder when you're struggling, the shared laughter that echoes down empty streets, the collective sigh of relief when burdens are shared. In times of darkness, it's the community that becomes our guiding light, leading us back to ourselves. But building this community doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, beautiful process, like watching a garden grow. It starts with a simple hello to that neighbor you've seen but never spoken to. It's joining that local book club you've been eyeing, or volunteering at the community center. Each small action is a seed planted, waiting to blossom into something magnificent. And here's the beautiful thing. As you reach out to others, you'll find they're reaching back. That's the magic of community. It's a two-way street, a dance of giving and receiving. In helping others, we often find the help we need ourselves. Remember, dear listeners, that you're not alone in this journey. Even now, as you drift off to sleep, there are countless others out there yearning for connection just like you. There's always a chance to reach out, to connect, to really build our own awesome community together. Simplicity as a health advantage. Fewer decisions, less stress. As you blink away the remnants of sleep, you're greeted not by the harsh buzz of an alarm, but by the distant toll of church bells. Your bed, a humble straw mattress, may not offer the comfort of memory foam, but it's familiar and well-worn. As you rise, you're faced with your first decision of the day, what to wear. You open your chest of clothing, and the choice is refreshingly simple. There are 2 tunics, one for work, one for church. No agonizing over fashion trends or scrolling through endless options on a screen. Just 2 pieces of fabric, softened by time and wear, likely crafted by someone you know. This simplicity extends to every aspect of your morning routine. What to eat, whatever is in season. What to do, whatever the land or your family needs. In our modern world, we often grapple with what researchers call decision fatigue, the mental drain that comes from facing countless choices throughout our day. But in medieval times, life followed natural patterns and rhythms. You knew what to expect as winter approached, and you understood your role when spring arrived. This predictability allowed the body and mind to relax into a sense of certainty. Of course, stress existed in medieval times, but it didn't stem from constant overthinking or the pressure to optimize every moment. There was clarity in routine, less choice, less noise, and more space to simply be. Science has shown that reducing small daily decisions can significantly improve focus and emotional well-being. In medieval times, this simplicity wasn't a conscious strategy for better mental health, it was just life. And it helped people maintain a sense of calm, even in challenging conditions. As the day unfolds, you find yourself by the hearth, mending a torn sleeve. In this moment, that's all you're doing. There's no music playing in your ears, no notifications vying for your attention, no background noise competing for your focus. It's just you, the steady pull of thread through cloth, and the gentle crackle of the fire. In this world, people didn't pride themselves on doing 10 things at once. They washed clothes or cooked or carved wood one task at a time. No multitasking, minimalism and action. Multitasking wasn't seen as a strength because everything required your hands, your attention, and your care. Modern studies now confirm what medieval life inherently supported, that focusing on one task at a time is more efficient and more calming for the mind. A pot on the fire couldn't be ignored. A baby in your arms needed your full presence. Each action was slower, but more complete. This medieval minimalism wasn't about owning less, but about doing less at once. And in that slower pace, there was a profound peace. The mind could breathe because it wasn't split between screens and tabs and alarms. It was right there with the wool, the bread, the flickering firelight. One moment, one task, one calm, steady mind. As you move through your day, you notice how this simplicity extends to your surroundings. Your home, a modest wooden structure, contains only what you need. There are no cluttered shelves, no overflowing closets. Each item has a purpose, a place, a story. The wooden spoon you used to stir the evening stew was carved by your grandfather. The quilt on your bed was stitched by your mother. Each square a memory of fabric from clothes long outgrown. This lack of excess wasn't a choice, but a reality of life. Yet it brought with it an unexpected gift, the ability to truly appreciate what you had. When you owned fewer things, each possession held more meaning. The scarcity made everything precious. In our modern world, we often seek happiness in accumulation, but studies show that beyond a certain point, more possessions don't equate to more joy. The medieval lifestyle, by necessity, aligned with what psychologists now recommend for greater contentment, focusing on experiences and relationships rather than things. As evening approaches, you join your family and neighbors around a communal fire. There are no distractions here, no screens to scroll through, no constant updates from the outside world. Instead, there's conversation, storytelling, the sharing of the day's events. This face-to-face interaction, free from the interference of technology, fostered deep connections and a sense of belonging that many in our modern world crave. The simplicity of medieval life extended to entertainment as well. Games were played with simple objects, stones, sticks, or homemade dice. Music was created with instruments fashioned from readily available materials. Stories were passed down orally, each telling a unique performance. In the absence of constant stimulation, people found joy in simple pleasures, the changing of seasons, the successful harvest, the birth of a child. As night falls and you prepare for sleep, you reflect on the day. There's a satisfaction in knowing that you've completed what needed to be done, that you've contributed to the well-being of your family and community. The worries that keep many of us awake in the modern world career advancement, social media presence, the latest news cycle are absent here. Instead, your thoughts drift to the tangible realities of your life, the crops growing in the field, the repairs needed on the roof, the upcoming village festival. You settle onto your straw mattress, pulling the wool blanket close. The darkness is complete, unbroken by the glow of streetlights or the flicker of screens. In this darkness, your body naturally aligns with the rhythms of nature, preparing for deep, restorative sleep. The simplicity of your day has left your mind calm, unburdened by the cognitive overload that plagues many in our time. As you drift off to sleep, consider how elements of this medieval simplicity might benefit our modern lives. Perhaps it's worth creating pockets of single tasking in our day, or reducing the number of small decisions we face. Maybe we can find more meaning in owning less, or carve out time for face-to-face connections free from technological distractions. While we wouldn't want to return to all aspects of medieval life, there's wisdom in its simplicity that we can carry forward. As you ponder these gentle lessons from the past, let the calmness of a less complicated time wash over you. Allow the steady rhythm of your breath to mirror the slower pace of medieval life. And as you sink deeper into relaxation, know that sometimes the path to peace lies not in adding more to our lives, but in embracing the beauty of less. There's no career ladder to climb, no social media feeds to scroll through, no 24-hour news cycle demanding your attention. Your day is simple, focused on immediate needs and tangible tasks. You rise with the sun, tend to your crops or craft, share meals with your community, and retire as darkness falls. While life was undoubtedly harder in many ways, there's a certain peace in this uncomplicated existence. As you go about your medieval day, notice how each task demands your full attention. When you're chopping wood, you're simply chopping wood. When you're kneading dough, that's your sole focus. There's no multitasking, no constant pings from devices, no stream of notifications pulling you in a dozen directions at once. This single-tasking approach, born of necessity in medieval times, might offer valuable lessons for our overstimulated modern lives. Perhaps we could benefit from creating pockets of focused attention in our day, setting aside time to fully engage with one task or person without digital distractions. Toxin-free living. No chemical additives. No screens. You rise from your simple bed, a far cry from our modern memory foam mattresses, but somehow your body feels rested. There's no buzz of electronics, no glare of screens to assault your senses. The silence is broken only by the gentle cooing of doves and the distant lowing of cattle. As you prepare for your day, you reach for a loaf of bread. It's a humble meal, but as you take a bite, you're struck by its flavor. The bread tastes like grain, like earth, like fire. It's a symphony of simple ingredients, each one pure and unadulterated. There are no preservatives inside it, no dyes, no artificial sweeteners, no numbers you cannot pronounce. Just flour, water, salt, and time. In this medieval world, food is real. It spoils quickly, yes, but that's a sign of life. The food is clean, not because people aim for a special diet, but because it simply hasn't been altered. It's nature's bounty, served straight to the table. And beyond food, there's another striking absence in this world, the absence of screens. There are no glowing rectangles demanding your attention, no dopamine loops triggered by social media, no blue light at midnight, no constant buzz in your pocket. Your mind has silence because the world around you isn't always calling for your attention. In this medieval landscape, your focus is unbroken. Your eyes see the sky, not a screen. The rhythm of your day is set by the sun, not by notifications. And in this absence of toxins, both chemical and digital, your body can regulate itself. It's a quiet system, a clean rhythm, a life more in tune with nature than with code. As you step outside your humble dwelling, the difference in air quality becomes even more apparent. The wind carries the scent of hay, wood smoke, and wet earth. There are no cars, no fumes, no factories on the horizon. In this medieval world, pollution as we know it is rare. Of course, the hearth smoke lingers in homes, but outside, the air is crisp, even in cities. The materials around you are all natural: wood, clay, stone, linen, and wool. There are no plastics, no microfibers, no toxic glues off-gassing into your lungs. Even the water, drawn from wells or streams, is closer to its source. In this environment, your skin, lungs, liver, all the organs responsible for filtering and cleansing have less to fight against. Today, many of our bodily systems are overburdened with chemicals in our air, additives in our products, and noise in our minds. But back then, the human body had more space to do what it was designed to do: detox naturally, heal gently, breathe freely. Even sweat carried fewer toxins. And though they didn't have our modern medicine, medieval people had something powerful: a clean environment. Their health wasn't perfect, but it wasn't so constantly under siege. Their bodies were allowed to be bodies, functioning as nature intended. As you walk through the village, you notice how people move and interact. There's a calmness, a presence that seems foreign to our modern sensibilities. Without that constant barrage of information and stimuli, minds are allowed to rest in quiet air. Conversations happen face to face, unhurried and undistracted. The work is hard, yes. Fields need tending, animals need care, and crafts require skill and patience. But there's a rhythm to it all, a connection to the earth and the seasons that we've largely lost. As you watch a potter shape clay or a weaver work at their loom, you see a focus and dedication that comes from living in the moment, unburdened by the endless distractions of our time. As the day progresses, you find yourself drawn to the edge of a nearby forest. The air here is even cleaner, filled with the scent of pine and wildflowers. You take deep breaths, feeling your lungs expand with air that hasn't been filtered through layers of pollution. It's a simple pleasure, but one that feels profoundly luxurious in its purity. The forest floor is soft beneath your feet, covered in a carpet of leaves and moss. You realize that even the ground you walk on is free from the microplastics and chemical residues that permeate our modern soil. The plants growing here are nourished by clean rain and unpolluted earth, their fruits and leaves untainted by pesticides or industrial runoff. As evening approaches, you make your way back to the village. The setting sun paints the sky in hues of orange and pink, unobscured by smog or tall buildings. You pass by gardens where vegetables grow in rich, dark soil, free from artificial fertilizers. You realize that while medieval life had its hardships, it also offered a purity of existence that we've largely lost. The absence of modern toxins in food, in air, in daily life allowed the human body and mind to function as they were designed to, in harmony with the natural world. As sleep begins to claim you, you wonder about the balance between progress and purity, between convenience and connection to our environment. Perhaps there are lessons here, ways to bring some of this cleaner, simpler living into our modern world. But those are thoughts for another time. For now, let the gentle sounds of a pre-industrial night lull you to sleep. As night falls in this quaint village of the past, a profound silence descends. There are no streetlights to pierce the darkness, no neon signs or glowing billboards to disrupt the natural rhythm of day and night. Instead, as your eyes adjust to the gentle darkness, you begin to notice something truly magical happening above you. The stars, oh the stars! They emerge in breathtaking clarity, a vast canopy of twinkling lights that modern city dwellers rarely get to witness. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a celestial river, each star a pinprick of light in the velvet blackness. The darkness is deep and enveloping, allowing your body's natural rhythms to align with the Earth's rotation in a way that feels both ancient and profoundly right. And now we'll be exploring the spiritual landscape of medieval life, where belief and purpose intertwined to create a unique sense of peace. It's a sound that has greeted countless mornings, a constant in a world of uncertainty. As its resonance spreads across the sleepy hamlet, you pause what you're doing and bow your head. This isn't an act of forced piety or mindless routine. No, in this moment you're participating in something far more profound, the rhythm of belief that lives inside each day. In the medieval world, faith wasn't just a Sunday affair. It was the very air people breathed, the lens through which they viewed every aspect of life. Nearly everyone believed in something greater, be it God, the saints, the turning wheel of time, or the eternal soul. This belief wasn't debated every morning over breakfast or scrutinized with modern skepticism. It simply was as natural and necessary as the rising sun or the falling rain. And in that quiet certainty, many found a peace that we in the modern world often struggle to grasp. You see, they knew the world had a structure, that life with all its joys and sorrows had meaning. That pain, however bitter, was not empty but part of a greater tapestry woven by divine hands. In a time before scientific explanations ruled supreme, there were answers, not empirical but spiritual. And these answers provided comfort in the face of life's harshest realities. When a child fell ill, you didn't just call for the local healer. You prayed fervently and with hope. When the harvest was poor and hunger loomed, you didn't just tighten your belt. You lit candles, offering your fears and hopes to a higher power. Now, it's important to understand that this didn't always change the outcome. Children still died, crops still failed, but it changed how people carried their burdens. They were not alone in their suffering, adrift in a cold, indifferent universe. Instead, they gave their pain a name, a place, a purpose within the grand design of creation. Today, we often search for meaning and complexity in scientific theories and philosophical debates. But back then, meaning was built into the very rhythm of life. It was as simple and as profound as the changing of the seasons or the cycle of day and night. You could rest inside your belief like a bird in its nest, finding shelter from the storms of life. And that rest, that peace, helped the mind stay steady in ways we're only beginning to understand today. But it wasn't just individual faith that provided this sense of stability. The entire structure of medieval society was infused with religious traditions that gave shape and meaning to the passing of time. The year wasn't just a collection of months and days. It was a spiritual journey marked by seasons of the soul as much as by the turning of the earth. Advent, Lent, Easter, Pentecost. These weren't just dates on a calendar. They were chapters in an ongoing story, one in which every person played a part. Each season brought its own rituals, its own foods, its own music, its own feeling. Feast days burst with joy and abundance, while fast days cultivated reflection and spiritual discipline. Days of prayer alternated with days of celebration, creating a rhythm that echoed the ebb and flow of human emotion. In our modern world, time often feels like an arrow shooting relentlessly forward into an unknown future. But in medieval life, time moved in circles, like the great wheel of the zodiac painted on cathedral ceilings. The same holy songs returned each winter, their familiar melodies of comfort to weary souls. The same candles were lit each spring, their flames a beacon of hope and renewal. This repetition, far from being monotonous, created a sense of safety and belonging. You always knew what came next. There was comfort in the predictability, a sense of being part of something greater than yourself. This structure, now studied by psychologists, has been shown to reduce stress and anxiety. It gives the brain something to lean against, a framework within which to make sense of the world. And it wasn't just about church services or religious observances. Rituals were woven into the very fabric of daily life. Morning prayers greeted the sun, while evening fires were a time for quiet reflection. Blessings were said before meals, transforming the simple act of eating into a moment of gratitude and connection. Before sleep, many would take time for quiet contemplation, reviewing the day's events in the light of their faith. Children were taught these rhythms from their earliest days, absorbing them as naturally as they learned to walk and talk. Adults passed them down, not just through words but through actions, embodying the traditions that had sustained their ancestors for generations. Even those who may have harbored doubts still participated in these communal rituals, understanding that tradition held the community together, giving everyone a place and a role to play. And when you feel you belong, truly belong, the mind does not panic. It rests. It finds peace in repetition, in ritual, in the soft heartbeat of faith and time. This sense of belonging, of being part of something greater than oneself, is something many of us yearn for in our fast-paced, individualistic modern world. As we drift towards sleep, let us take a moment to reflect on the peace that our medieval ancestors found in their beliefs and traditions. While we may not share their worldview, perhaps we can learn from their ability to find meaning and purpose in the rhythms of daily life. In our own ways, we too can create rituals and practices that ground us, that remind us of our place in the grand tapestry of existence. The church bell that began our journey is fading now, its echoes growing softer as we slip deeper into the realm of dreams. But its message lingers, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we are not alone, that there is meaning to be found if we have the courage to look for it, and that sometimes the greatest peace comes not from having all the answers, but from learning to rest in the questions. As your eyes grow heavy and your breathing slows, imagine yourself nestled in the warm embrace of belief, as so many before us have done. Let the gentle rhythms of medieval life lull you into a peaceful slumber, where past and present merge and the eternal questions of existence fade into the soft darkness of night. Everyone believed in a higher power, be it God, the saints, or the eternal turning of the cosmic wheel. This belief wasn't just a comfort. It was the very fabric of society, weaving together the experiences of peasants and nobles alike. As you step out of your humble dwelling, the weight of daily struggles pressing upon your shoulders, you might find solace in the knowledge that your hardships are not in vain. The medieval mind understood pain and suffering not as meaningless torment, but as threads in a grand tapestry, carefully woven by divine hands. Each moment of difficulty, each trial faced, was seen as a step on a greater journey, one that extended beyond the confines of mortal life. The local church stands as a testament to this belief, its spire reaching towards the heavens, a constant reminder of the connection between the earthly and the divine. Inside, the flickering candlelight illuminates scenes of saints and angels, offering visual comfort to those seeking respite from the outside world. Here, in the cool, quiet interior, many found peace, believing that their prayers were heard and their souls tended to by unseen forces. Living in nature's sunlight, dirt, clean air, biome health, sunlight exposure, we're going to delve into the natural world our ancestors lived in, surrounded by sunlight, soil, and clean air. Imagine a small village nestled in the heart of medieval Europe. The first rays of sunlight are peeking through the cracks in your wooden shutters. There's no alarm clock here, just the gentle chorus of birdsong and the distant sound of a rooster. You stretch and rise from your simple bed, ready to greet the day. As you step outside, the cool morning air fills your lungs. It's clean, crisp, and alive with the sense of nature. There are no car exhaust fumes, no factory smoke, just the pure breath of the earth. You take a moment to appreciate this simple pleasure, one that we often overlook in our modern world. The sun is climbing higher now, casting a soft, golden light across the fields. You make your way to the garden where your day's work awaits. There are no glass windows between you and the sky, no ceiling blocking the sun's gentle rhythm. You live outside for much of the day, breathing deeply, squinting gently into the blue above. As you work in the soil, planting seeds or tending to young shoots, you're connecting with the earth in a way that's become rare in our time. Your hands are in the dirt, feeling its coolness, its richness. This living soil beneath your feet isn't a threat, it's a friend. You garden in it, walk barefoot on it, raise animals that move through it. The medieval folk didn't know about vitamin D, but their bodies made plenty of it. That sunlight touching your skin, your hair, your hands in the soil, it's supporting your bones, your mood, your immune system. It's a daily ritual, this dance with the sun, one that modern science is only now beginning to fully appreciate. As the morning progresses, you might take a break to tend to the animals. Perhaps you're milking a cow or collecting eggs from the chickens. These simple tasks connect you to your food in a way that has been lost in our world of supermarkets and packaged goods. The milk is raw, the eggs are fresh, and your body knows exactly how to process these natural, unprocessed foods. In our modern world, we often sanitize everything, bleaching our homes and avoiding dirt at all costs. But in medieval times, people lived closer to nature, and strangely, their gut health was often better for it. Today, we know our gut is deeply connected to our immune system and mood, and those who live close to nature tend to have more diverse, healthy gut bacteria. A bit of dirt, a touch of raw milk, a vegetable pulled straight from the ground, it all taught the body how to live in harmony with the world around it. Their immune systems were trained gently, day by day, by the sun, by the soil, by the natural world. It wasn't always easy or comfortable, but there was a wisdom in this closeness to nature that we're only now beginning to rediscover. As midday approaches, you might take a moment to rest in the shade of a great oak tree. The air around you is filled with the gentle hum of insects, the rustle of leaves in the breeze. You take another deep breath, savoring the purity of the air. It smells of grass, earth, and perhaps a hint of wood smoke from a distant hearth. In the Middle Ages, people didn't have factories or chemical sprays. Their world was full of organic scents, herbs, animals, the changing weather. Even indoors, the air was clearer. Fires gave off smoke, yes, but there were no harsh cleaning agents or artificial scents. No synthetic fabrics releasing microplastics, no neon lights humming above their heads. The clothes they wore were wool and linen, breathable and natural. Their tools were wood, stone, and iron. Their world was imperfect, but it was clean in the natural sense. And modern research tells us that low exposure to pollutants supports better lung function, better sleep, even better mental clarity. In the Middle Ages, they didn't need air purifiers. They had forests, breezes, rivers. Their homes were drafty, yes, but those drafts carried air that had never passed through a machine. Clean air, clean earth, clean bodies, not by effort, but by living with the land. As the afternoon wears on, you might find yourself working in the communal fields alongside your neighbors. There's a sense of community here, of shared purpose. You chat and laugh as you work, sharing stories and local gossip. The physical labor is hard, but it keeps your body strong and your mind clear. The sun continues its arc across the sky, and you feel its warmth on your back. Your skin may be tanned and weathered, but it's healthy, nourished by the natural light. There's no sunscreen here, but your body has adapted to this daily exposure, producing melanin to protect itself. As evening approaches, you make your way back to the village. The air is cooling now, filled with the sense of cooking fires and the promise of a simple but satisfying meal. Perhaps it's a hearty stew made with vegetables from your garden and meat from locally raised animals. There are no preservatives, no artificial flavors, just wholesome, natural food. You gather with your family or perhaps your neighbors to share the meal. There's no television, no smartphones to distract you. Instead, there's conversation, storytelling, maybe some simple music. This social connection, this sharing of food and stories, is deeply nourishing in its own way. As night falls, you prepare for sleep. Your bed may be simple, a straw mattress perhaps, but your body is tired from honest work, and sleep comes easily. The night is dark, truly dark, with no artificial lights to disrupt your natural rhythms. The silence is broken only by the soft sounds of nature, an owl hooting, the rustle of a gentle breeze. This was daily life in the Middle Ages. It wasn't always easy, and there were certainly hardships we're glad to have left behind. But there was also a deep connection to the natural world, a rhythm of life that followed the sun and the seasons. Clean air, clean earth, clean bodies, not by effort, but by living with the land. As we drift off to sleep in our modern world, perhaps we can take a moment to appreciate the comforts we have, while also reflecting on what we might have lost. The gentle caress of sunlight on our skin, the feel of rich soil between our toes, the breath of truly clean air in our lungs. These simple pleasures, once taken for granted, are now luxuries for many of us. But as you lie here, listening to my voice, perhaps you can imagine that medieval world. Feel the warmth of the sun on your face. Smell the earthy scent of the fields. Hear the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. Let these soothing images carry you into a peaceful sleep, connecting you. Sounds of silence and nature, a calming auditory landscape. Imagine waking up to the gentle chorus of birdsong, the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze, and the distant babbling of a nearby stream. No car horns, no smartphone notifications, just the pure, unadulterated sounds of nature. This wasn't a special occasion for our medieval ancestors. It was their everyday symphony. The absence of modern noise pollution created a calming auditory landscape that we can only dream of today. As you step outside your humble dwelling, your eyes are greeted not by billboards and neon signs, but by vast expanses of untouched wilderness. Forests stretch as far as the eye can see, fields of wildflowers dance in the wind, and rivers wind their way through the landscape like silver ribbons. At night, the sky becomes a canvas of stars, unpolluted by artificial light. This feast for the eyes wasn't just beautiful. It was a balm for the soul, a natural remedy for the stresses of daily life. Winding down the day, sunset routines. Let's exploring the soothing rhythms of medieval evenings, when the setting sun was nature's own lullaby. It's always fascinating to see our global community of night owls and early birds. Now, let's ease into tonight's tale together as we unwind the day medieval style. Imagine yourself standing on a worn village path as the sky above you transforms into a canvas of gold and amber. The last rays of sunlight stretch long shadows across the ground, painting everything in warm, sleepy hues. You're finishing up your final task of the day, but there's no rush, no urgency. The world around you is whispering that it's time to slow down, to stop. In this medieval world, the day's end isn't marked by the harsh beep of an alarm or the ping of a notification. It's signaled by the sun's gentle descent below the horizon. There are no bright screens to trick your eyes, no artificial lights to push the boundaries of wakefulness. Just the natural ebb and flow of light and dark, a rhythm as old as time itself. As the sky dims, you feel your own mind following suit, preparing for rest. The animals need to be brought in from the fields, a task you perform with unhurried movements. You pause to wash your hands in cool, clear water from the village well, silently thanking the day for its gifts and challenges. This evening routine isn't a frantic rush of last-minute tasks. It's more like a soft landing, a gentle descent into stillness. Modern research now confirms what medieval folk instinctively knew, that exposure to natural light helps regulate our body as internal clock. The fading of daylight prepares the brain for rest, a process that happened automatically in these simpler times. For medieval people, sunset wasn't just a suggestion to wind down. It was a signal that resonated through their entire way of life. They listened to it with their whole beings, allowing the natural world to guide their daily rhythms. As darkness settles in, you make your way indoors. The heart of your home, a low-burning fire, crackles softly in the hearth. Its orange glow dances on rough stone walls and weathered wooden beams, casting a warm, comforting light. You find a seat among family or neighbors, settling in for the evening's quiet rituals. There are no phones to check, no TVs to watch, no digital noise to distract you. Instead, the air is filled with voices, some telling funny tales of the day's events, others sharing sacred stories passed down through generations, and a few recounting legends as old as the hills themselves. You listen, feeling your body soften and your mind begin to drift gently, carried along by the ebb and flow of familiar voices. In this medieval world, bedtime isn't an abrupt transition. It's a process, a gradual unwinding that mirrors the day's slow fade into night. Not long after dark, you settle in for your first sleep, a few hours of rest before a quiet waking in the deepest part of the night. This midnight waking isn't cause for concern. It's a natural part of the sleep cycle, a time for prayer, reflection, or simply quiet thought. Then comes the second sleep, lasting until the morning bell signals the start of a new day. This pattern of segmented sleep was entirely natural, matching the body's innate rhythms in a world not yet disrupted by artificial light. Modern science is rediscovering the benefits of this two-part sleep, finding it can be deeply restorative. Those moments between sleep's peaceful, creative, undisturbed, offered a unique space for contemplation and connection with the self. But perhaps the most soothing element of all is the fire itself. Its warmth seeps into your bones. Its ever-changing dance mesmerizes your eyes, and its quiet pops and crackles create a soothing soundtrack for the night. There are no notifications demanding your attention, no schedules to worry about, no anxiety about tomorrow's tasks. It's simply a closing of the day, a return to the self, and an invitation to rest. As you sit by the fire, you might reflect on the day that's passed, the work of your hands, the conversations shared, the small victories and challenges faced. There's a deep satisfaction in knowing you've lived in harmony with the sun's cycle, rising with its light and now settling as it sets. The fire's glow softens the edges of the room, turning familiar objects into gentle shadows. You might share a final story or song with those around you, voices kept low to honor the night's quiet. Or perhaps you simply sit in companionable silence, each lost in your own thoughts as the day's last embers fade. When it's time for sleep, you make your way to your bed simple, but comfortable in its familiarity. The straw mattress might seem rough by modern standards, but to you, it's a welcoming nest. You pull a woolen blanket around you, its weight comforting rather than cumbersome. The darkness is deep and complete, broken only by the faintest starlight filtering through cracks in the shutters. As you drift towards sleep, there's no scrolling through social media, no last-minute emails to check. Your mind is free to wander, to process the day's events, to dream. The night sounds a distant owl, the rustle of wind in the trees, the soft breathing of those nearby create a lullaby as old as humanity itself. In this medieval world, sleep isn't something to be conquered or optimized. It's a natural part of life's rhythm, as essential and unremarkable as breathing. You don't fight against it or try to push its boundaries. Instead, you welcome it, sinking into its embrace with gratitude for another day lived, another night of rest ahead. As we return to our modern world, we might take a moment to consider what we've lost and what we might reclaim. The gentle winding down of the day, the natural rhythms of light and dark, the deep connection to the cycles of nature. These aren't just relics of a bygone era. They're patterns etched deep in our DNA, waiting to be remembered and honored. Perhaps tonight, as you prepare for sleep, you might dim the lights a little earlier. Put aside your devices and let the natural darkness of evening settle around you. Listen to the quiet sounds of your home. Feel the weight of your blankets, and allow yourself to drift into sleep, not as a task to be accomplished, but as a natural, welcome part of your day. As you step inside, the familiar scent of home greets you, a mixture of wood smoke, dried herbs, and the earthiness of well-worn timber. The darkness is deep and complete, broken only by the faintest starlight filtering through cracks in the shutters. You navigate by memory and touch, your fingers brushing against rough-hewn walls as you move toward your sleeping area. The straw mattress might seem rough by modern standards, but to you, it's a welcoming nest. Stuffed with fresh hay and covered with a coarse woolen blanket, it promises a night of rest after a long day of toil. You settle in, feeling the give of the straw beneath you, cradling your tired body. The silence of the night is profound, punctuated only by the occasional rustle of wind through thatched roofs or the distant hoot of an owl. There are no street lights, no hum of electricity, just the pure, velvety darkness that our ancestors knew so well. As you lie there, your mind might wander to the day's events. Perhaps you tended the fields or worked at a trade in the village. The simplicity of medieval life, while challenging, had its own rhythm and peace. Each day was a cycle of work, rest, and community, unmarred by the constant distractions of our modern world. The fire has faded now, its warmth a distant memory, as we reach the end of our journey through medieval times. Only embers remain, glowing softly in the hearth, casting gentle shadows across the room. The night is quiet, a stark contrast to the bustling days we've explored together. Outside, the wind moves gently through the trees, rustling leaves and carrying whispers of a world long past. And inside you there is stillness, a calm that settles over your body, inviting you to release the tensions of the modern world. You've walked through another time, dear listener. You've felt the calm of slower mornings when the sun's rays were the only alarm clock. You've tasted the strength of simple food, nourishing both body and soul. You've experienced the quiet comfort of community, where neighbors knew each other by name and lent a helping hand without hesitation. You've seen how they lived not perfectly, but peacefully. The rhythms of daily life, the changing of seasons, the cycles of planting and harvest. You felt the rhythm of the past wrapped gently around your modern thoughts, offering a different perspective on what truly matters. Let it stay with you now. Let the soft patterns of medieval life help your body release the tension of this day. The weight of your smartphone, the pressure of deadlines, the constant hum of technology, allow it all to fade away, replaced by the simplicity of candlelight and the comfort of woolen blankets. You don't need to do anything else. You are safe here in this moment between past and present. You are enough just as you are. Breathe in slowly, feeling the cool night air fill your lungs. Feel the air as it moves through you like a river through stone, cleansing, refreshing, renewing. Now breathe out and let go. Let go of the worries that cling to your mind, the to-do lists that never seem to end. If your mind wanders, that's okay. It's natural for thoughts to drift like leaves on a stream. Let it drift back to the stone cottage with its sturdy walls and thatched roof. Let it return to the firelight, dancing on rough-hewn wooden beams. Picture the quiet fields stretching out beyond the village, bathed in moonlight. Hear the distant chapel bell, its soft chimes carried on the night breeze. Taste the herbal tea brewed from plants gathered in the monastery garden. Listen for the sound of bare feet on wooden floors, padding softly in the pre-dawn quiet. You are welcome here in this gentler world we've explored together. You can always return whenever the pace of modern life becomes too frantic. For now, rest. Let the cares of your day melt away like morning mist. Let sleep take you, cradling you in its warm embrace. And when you wake, carry a little of this peace with you. Let it be a balm for your soul in moments of stress. Remember the strength of those who came before us, who faced hardships we can scarcely imagine, yet found joy in simple pleasures. Until next time, gentle dreamer, know that this world of the past is always here, waiting for you to return. The stone walls, the flickering candlelight, the whispered prayers, they remain a sanctuary in your mind. As we part ways for now, feel the weight of your body sinking deeper into your bed. Your breathing slows, becoming steady and deep. The last echoes of medieval life fade into the background, leaving only peace and tranquility. Good night, dear listener. May your dreams be filled with the quiet strength of those who walked these paths before us. And may you wake refreshed, carrying a spark of their resilience into your own world. Sleep now, and know that you are part of a long, unbroken chain of humanity, stretching back through time and forward into a future yet unwritten. Rest easy, for you are never truly alone. Good night.